Hi everyone, it's Kate from Melbourne, Australia. How are we all tonight? This is, I'm just going to pump up my volume actually because I don't know if you can all hear me. This tonight's going to be my story, and I wasn't actually quite sure whether I was going to be able to come live tonight because we've just had a major meltdown. So I'm just going to go straight into our story because I'm literally exhausted from my poor little boy that just could not go to sleep. So I'm just gonna talk, and I'm just gonna share the story. I can't guarantee that I'm not gonna cry. I can't guarantee that it's not gonna be emotional, and I can't guarantee that you're gonna like everything that I say. But do you know what? Sometimes you just have to say it how it is, and you've just got to share, whatever is going on. And I think that the real story behind, dealing with autism as a parent is something that people need to hear. Hey Erica, how are you, darling? I know that you feel my pain. Harry's just had like the biggest meltdown I have, pretty much witnessed. He's going through some kind of, I don't know whether it's a growth spurt. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is he's going through, but he's just going through something that I just can't put my finger on, and it's driving me mad. Anyway, so I'm going to start from the beginning, and I'm just going to keep talking, and then I'm going to share something towards the end that happened to us the other day. And, I just want to say, I'm here to tell you that as a parent, you have got the right to be your child's advocate. And I'm just going to say a shout out to everybody that's listening, and obviously to all the people that will replay this. And please, if you know a parent or if you know somebody in a group that's going through difficulties with a child with autism, please tag them or please share this live with somebody, because believe me, it will help somebody. It's not always comfortable for me to share this journey, because sometimes I put myself in the vulnerability bracket, and it is hard to share some of these moments, but I feel like the impact is greater. The things that people really need to hear is greater than me sitting back and not telling everybody. So, obviously if none of you know me, right, if nobody out there knows me, I'm Kate Edwards. I have, my little boy is Harry, and he's going to be 5 in December, and he was diagnosed with autism when he was 2. Thank God we caught it early, and those early signs were something that I didn't really recognise. It was actually Nanny Jan that kept saying to me, he's not giving me any eye contact, Kate. Why won't he look at me? Anyway, after several times and, lots of different things, and he was, he was actually following the TV, the movements and everything. So, obviously we got him checked out, and we, went to a therapist and got lots of reports and blah, blah, blah. And I went to this particular speech therapist, and I just said, come on, just tell me, no bullshit. What's the go? What do you, as your professional opinion, feel that, is going on with Harry? And she, hey Ash, hey Melissa, I know that you know, girls, I know that you know. And she did say to me that, she did think that Harry was on the spectrum. And I think I went to that appointment not actually expecting somebody to say that to me. So as soon as she said that to me, my back went up immediately, and I was like, I don't think so. How did you come to that conclusion? By just dropping a ball behind him and he didn't react? And it was really, really hard for me to accept that I was being told that my son had autism or there was a problem. And I think that us as parents, we put ourselves in this bubble of neurotypical children where, we don't think that anything's going to be wrong with them. And, you know, for me, it was a massive smack in the guts. And I wasn't prepared for what they told me. And I certainly wasn't prepared for what was to come either. So me going home that day and actually digesting that my son actually was on the spectrum and he'd got autism was just the beginning of a very, very long journey. And to be honest, it took me a long time to actually sink in. There was a lot of feelings. There was a lot of weird anxiety, upset, emotion, blame. You know, where the hell did he get that from? I mean, you know, I was well aware that, you know, my Harry's father has definitely got some form of Asperger's of some, you know, or something going on with him, because I recognised a lot of the traits, and I recognise a lot of the things that Harry does than his father used to do. So I know exactly, you know, where the gene has come from and, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And, you know, and it's a shame because he's gone all his life and been undiagnosed. So he's never going to get help, and he's never going to want help. So, but that's another story. So, you know, the journey began when obviously Harry was 2, and luckily we got into therapy quick, and I recognised the signs and I took on the therapy and I actually absorbed what they were telling me, because I always knew that he was never going to be in my world. I was always going to have to get into his world. And for me to do that, I had to understand his brain. I had to understand what was going on, because there was a lot I couldn't understand. There was a lot I didn't get. The question of why. Why is he doing this? Why doesn't he understand me? Why can't I communicate with him? Why? And for me to then obviously, you know, get that strength of understanding, you know, because somebody said to me, you know, you're never going to be in his world. You have to get in his world. And I think that that's the biggest tip that I can give to anybody right now that's going through, could they be, you know, get them diagnosed, go and find out. And if you're not happy with your first opinion, go and get another one, because my doctor was absolutely amazing, and I believe that he was one of my saving graces. And you know, a mother's intuition is always right, and never ever second guess yourself, because you know your child better than anybody else in this world. And you know, you have the right to say, I don't believe that this is right. I don't believe that that something is going on that I'm not happy with, and I want it assessed. I want answers. And if they send you away and say, no, everything's good, you go back, you go find somebody else, and you go and get what you're looking for, because believe me, it's definitely out there. So after I kind of got over the blame game and the self-destruct mode, I kind of picked myself up and decided that, you know, if I was ever going to be connected with my son, I'm going to have to do something about it. So, you know, that what took us on the journey was finding a good therapist, finding a good speech therapist, finding a good OT. Because if you get that good connection, then your skills, your child's skills can then align. And I found that, you know, I went through a couple of speeches, I went through a couple of OTs to get the right one. And somebody obviously recommended me the speechy that I'm with now, and she is amazing. And she connects with Harry on a different level that I can't connect with him. And she just gets him distracted straight away, and she makes him communicate with the communication device. Like she's just amazing, and she hasn't even got children herself. She's just got this gift. And, you know, I think that recognising that something is actually wrong with your child is the first step. Because the second step is getting them the help that they really need, because early intervention, believe me, it is the best thing that you can give your child, because that early intervention between 2 and 5 is giving them that bracket of, those first moments of help and, extra, extra understanding, because, Harry was always he was always in his own little world. He's always happy playing on his own, and he wouldn't mix with other children. It was very socially awkward. And, it was hard for him to mix with other children. So I was absolutely determined to find a way that how I could help him socialise, because I think that the socialisation for me, mixing with other kids, was a massive thing, because I'm a socialite. I like socialising, so I want to be able to take Harry to wherever I'm going and him to be able to feel comfortable socialising with other people. So what I did was, obviously, I took him everywhere. I mean, there was the speechy that I first started going to said, don't do this with him, don't do that with him, don't do this, don't put him in uncomfortable situations and rah. But you know what? I did exactly the opposite. I went wherever I wanted to go. We went to places where there was markets. That we went to, grass things, where you sit on the grass picnics and stuff like that. We went to, I was always very nervous because, he always had a wristband, and I was always very conscious of where he was, what he was doing, because he was always very fixated on wheels. Anything with a wheel, he would be there. If it was a truck, if it was a car, if it was a little bicycle going round, he would be obsessed with that. So, we made sure that we sat near a truck, or we sat near the ice cream van, or we sat near something that would, I knew that he would be occupied. So, I got his comfort zone sorted out. I'd bring his toys, I'd bring his snacks, I'd bring his best blanket, I'd bring his comfort zone with him. So at that point, his comfort zone was his pram. So he absolutely loved being in his pram, and it was his absolute comfort zone. So, what I used to do was I just used to take that everywhere, and I used to take his toys and everything that he was comfortable with. So we used to go to these places, and sometimes at the beginning he used to be quite uncomfortable, but then he would get to the point where he was really thriving, and he would enjoy where he was. He would know where I was. I would not take my eyes off that kid for a second, believe me. If you ever going with anyone, he had a little monkey pack on him, and I had the wristband, because I was always frightened to death that he would run off, and I couldn't find him. That was probably one of my biggest fears, and still is. And I think that's why I'm so pedantic, and I'm so particular, and I'm so protective. So, that obviously, we went on, and obviously the speechy that we was with at the time wasn't working, so we found another one. And that's a big thing that I will say to parents out there. If you're not feeling like you're getting anything back from your services, go and find another one, because your money, your plan with the NDIS is very valuable. And if you're not getting the best from it, then go and find something else, because there's some damn good speeches out there. There's some damn good OTs. Yeah, you might have to wait a little while, but go and find them. Ask, go on mums groups, ask, who's your speechy in this area? Who's got a good one? Ask the question, because you are your child's advocate. You are their voice. And this little section between the age of 2 and 5 is so important. That is the most impact that you can give them. Early childhood intervention is key, absolute key. So obviously, with when we Jodie, you're gonna have to stop talking because I don't want to cry. When we obviously got into the good speechy, she connected with him, and she also connected with me. So the things that I learned from her has been phenomenal, and the things that I've been able to input with him, and the things that I've been able to understand with Harry has completely changed the game. And I feel like, if there's a few things, tips and tricks and anything that I can give to any mum and dad out there that's really struggling right now, it's the way that I've found to connect with Harry is finding out what motivates him. So obviously he's highly motivated by elephants. He's highly motivated by magic sand. He's highly motivated by cars. So I will engage in play with him. And, you know, obviously if he comes home from daycare, I'll have different little sets of things laid out for him so he can actually play. So we've got systems, we've got a little area to play with. So, you know, he knows as soon as he comes home, it's playtime, it's mummy time, it's the time that he has with me. And I feel that's my green light time. Because what that means is obviously your child is, when they have autism, their brain isn't obviously 100% functioning. So it means that they're highly focused on something. So what you need to do is you need to do the distractive method where you observe, you wait, you listen. And then you can implement a distraction mode that will bring them to you, that will make them engage with you. So you have to get down on their level. You have to get down to the floor. You've got to play, you know, some kind of interactive game with them where they're giving you eye contact, you know, wear a funny hat, you know, put a little right on your face, you know, put a little mud mask like strips across your face so they're constantly looking at you. Because the eye contact is really important because it works with social skills, it works with social interaction. Because now I'm finding that Harry is actually looking at other children. He's actually like engaging with other kids because of the activities I do here with him. And when we have other kids round, I encourage them to do that with him too. So he doesn't only, you know, socialize a lot better now, he actually engages with other things, other activities. So I focus on what he enjoys, which, you know, is high impact activity. He loves the park, he loves running, he loves, you know, playing with the ball. He's got the most incredible core strength I've ever seen. That kid is just an absolute acrobat. But, you know, he likes playing on the floor. He likes doing rough and tumble with mum. And him and I have this like unbelievable bond. And it's just unreal. Just watching Amy. So how I need to know is this: Jonah is absolutely fixated all day with Marvel. It's took over everyday life. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to distract him with something. I've just encountered the iPad problem, guys. So it's here, and believe me, you have to be tough, and you can't just give them the iPad because I know that it calms them and it gives them that satisfaction. It gives them that safety. So what I found that I'll put the iPad away and I won't let him have it until we've done our play, we've done our connection, we've done our teamwork games, or we've gone out for a walk. We've done something together that's engaged in a social activity. The TV is off, the iPad is hidden, and he can't have anything until we have played, we have engaged, and I encourage you to do something that they are really driven by. And if they're not driven by something, then find something. Look up sensory toys, find some magic sand, get some sensory things going on. Because I feel like, you know, we can let our children play the iPad, and I'm not saying that it's wrong, but we need to find some educational apps as well that's actually making them do something. Apps that have got sounds, apps that have got, you know, pouring the milk into the cup where you press the button and it happens, you know. So those kind of interactive apps that you can work with your child, and they're actually getting praise from you when they do something. So it's all about learning on how can you communicate and how can you actually get that connection with your child. Because there's so many parents out there, and don't get me wrong, I understand how easy it is to just put them in the corner, pop the iPad on and get on with what you've got to do. I completely get that, because, you know, whilst this stupid COVID thing has been going on, I have been guilty of that. He has actually retracted on what he was doing because he's not been getting the therapy, he's not been getting the social activity, he's not been getting the engagement from me, because yes, I have been so busy, so focused on business and work and mum's group and, you know, everything else. I am guilty. I am absolutely guilty. And, you know, the other day, it kind of broke my heart because I saw his regression and I feel like I am to blame. And, you know, I get it. Like, we as parents, we completely blame ourselves for doing these things because we don't actually know what to do. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is not knowing what to do. And I feel like you really need to reach out to your speech therapist or your OT. You need to figure out what you can do as a parent, because do you know what? You're not just their mum, you are their therapist as well. And don't get me wrong, you didn't sign up for this, and I understand that, but you have to take this on. You have to. And it's a fundamental thing that you learn these activities and that you get on the floor with your child and you get that eye contact and you help them with their social skills, whether it's with drawing, whether it's with painting. You know, I have a problem with Harry eating. Like, he's not a very good eater. So, you know, we're engaging in a food course, you know, where we go and we have fun and we do a little bit of food and cooking, and you know, it's just thinking of things outside the box. And I've recently connected with a lady who is amazing, and we're going to go. We've found a little gym that's NDIS funded, and we're going over to Sandringham, and we're actually going to do some, you know, fitness activities, because, you know, Harry is so energetic and he's so full of energy. It is ridiculous. And I know that he's probably on the ADHD borderline as well. But to be honest, I don't actually want to have him diagnosed, because I don't want to put my son on Ritalin. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that do have Ritalin and it's helped their children. And I get that. But you know, for me, it's not an option. I want to find something else. And I think I've actually found something else that's giving him a cellular detox. It's calming him. It's giving him that mechanism that's just kind of giving him that release. Because at the minute, I'm finding that he's got this mass of energy that's just like taking over. It's taking control of him. And I've never, ever seen anything like it. And it's actually breaking my heart. Because we get to the breaking point as parents, you know, it's just like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like, literally, what can I do? And to see your child go into like full-on meltdown is one of the hardest things that you can do as a parent. You know, you did sometimes. I know some parents don't take their kids to the shop because they don't know what they're going to do. They don't know if they're going to be embarrassed. They don't know what other people are going to say, and that is a massive thing. And you know what? Don't be afraid to turn around and say, "My child has autism. This is my life. Get on with it." Because, you know, there are so many judgmental people out there still to this day that don't respect parents that have children with a disability. And you know what? It doesn't have to be a visible disability. And that's the problem. Harry doesn't look as if he's got, like, autism. He looks like butter wouldn't bloody melt in his mouth. But you know what? He's an absolute rascal. Sorry, my nose is running. I'm just going to have to give it a blow. Good job I brought my bog roll again, guys. Because I know I'm going to cry at some point. So, you know, might as well get it over. So, you know, I understand, like, 100% that parents have this, you know. I watched something on YouTube the other day, and it was a video of a parent dealing with a child with autism. And it was just them trying to keep them in a bubble, and it was like they're waiting at the door to go out, and they're waiting for people to cross the road so they can just bolt out the door. And I think that, you know, I walk out with Harry loud and proud, and whether he misbehaves or not, like, it is what it is. You know, you just have to get round and do the shopping. You've just got to go and do what you've got to do. But us as parents can, you know, help the situation, and to you have to keep back on the sugar levels. You have to keep back on the juice levels. You've got to remove all those extra additives that's gonna absolutely ignite your child. Like, I know the things that Harry can have and Harry can't have. Although he's very picky with his food, I restrict. He doesn't have juice. He has flavoured water if he's good. But the rest is water, and he has a milk, and he has a cup of tea, like, because he's always had a cup of tea as a baby. So, and I'm just kind of experiencing the change of, going from kinder to school, where this is going to lead me on to talk about what I experienced the other day, which obviously, like, it was like waving a red flag at a bull. Can you imagine? I was absolutely, like, beside myself. And I think that this is a really important point for parents, because if your child has a disability and cannot speak, you are their advocate. You are their voice. And I cannot say this any freaking louder, that you have the power to say, no, this is not comfortable for my child. No, please don't carry on doing this because it's upsetting my child. I have to deal with the aftermath. So let's stop this right there. So what actually happened was he had to go for an assessment, and this assessment was obviously basically for his next school level, and which is absolutely fine. I completely understand. We have to take our children for these assessments because everybody has to be assessed. We can't just say we know our children. You ask me the questions and I'll tell you exactly what they can do and what they can't do. I get that they have to be pushed to that next level to see where they're at, what they can and what they can't do, which I'm learning. Because obviously I'm very guilty of keeping Harry in a bubble, as we all are, as we all do. But sometimes we have to expose our children to the not to the unknown, but the uncomfortable zone. It was the IQ test, Steph. So, we went into an unfamiliar room where, first of all, the lady was late, so it didn't really kick off in a good start because Harry was already agitated. He didn't really want to participate because he was fed up. Like, there was no toys to play with, there was nothing to entertain him, and I was just like, oh my God, this is just going to be like hell. So then we went into this, room where there was no, it was just a conference room where there was it wasn't full of energy. It wasn't full of anything bright. It wasn't full of toys. It wasn't full of anything that I could entertain him with. And I just was like, what are you expecting of my child? Because, if you just want him to sit down on a seat and perform, you're wrong, sister, because that ain't going to happen. So, we kind of like started off on a bit of a wrong foot and my back was already up. And, she started to try and do these assessments on him, and it was just basically, she didn't really connect with Harry, which I find that you have to. And I just said, if you want to just spend 5 minutes just on the floor playing with him and just maybe building a bit of eye contact, and just, get the trust, get the connection, at least get him to look at you, because believe me, if you get that trust, if you get that look, you'll get a lot more from him, because there'll be a two-way connection. And anyway, I was wrong. I just needed to shut up and let her do her job. So I was like, okay, love, off you go. So she just started to try and, push this book in his face, hi, Harry, point to the bunny, point to the carrot. I'm like, darling, he's got no idea what a bunny is. He's got no idea what a carrot is. So what are you asking from him? Because he's got no idea. He doesn't even know what a bunny looks like. He doesn't know the words. And I was just like, I was just sat there and I'm just like, you can push this much more. This much more. Anyway, and I just said, look, I said, do you want to give me the book? And do you want me to perform this for you? Because obviously he's got my trust. He'll probably come to me and he'll just, maybe do this a little bit better. No. Okay. No worries. So, that continued, and Harry was getting very agitated. He was getting very, beside himself. And I was just like, yeah, well, let's just move on to the next one because this is not going to happen. So she got these other things out, which was like, you know, puzzles and things, which he's not really had a lot of puzzle activity. He has a game on the iPad where he matches the animals, which is an amazing app. Oh my God, you need to do that with your kids because it's so good. He is so good at it. Like if I was to function on an amazing app, like that is just so good because he's just like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh my God, how does he remember? So he's got a very good memory. Like his skills like that are just absolutely on point. So I know that he's very capable. I know they need to see him at his worst, Kim. I know that, but there was no necessity for getting him agitated and, you know, uncomfortable in a situation where, you know, the room wasn't filled with any toys. There was no there was nothing nice for him to be distracted by, you know. Anyway, so, you know, as it went on and on and on, she was kind of pushing him a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I was just like, enough, because I'm going to have to deal with this aftermath. He's not going to give you anything. And he's literally just throwing himself around. So, you know, before it escalates into something that I physically can't calm down, then I think we need to leave it here and then maybe, you know, make another appointment and do it again in a comfortable environment in the kinder, you know, where he's with all his, you know, he's in his happy zone and you're going to be able to connect and communicate. And I think that it's a really important thing that, you know, parents have the right to stop these things, because do you know what? It really upset me. It really, really upset me. I don't know, Steph, because we had to finish that. We couldn't even do the application because I stopped it because it wasn't working for me. It wasn't working for Harry, and I wasn't going to put him through that. So, you know, I'm going to, you know, I took him from the situation and we went to kinder and I just completely broke down. And I think that, you know, for me to have just completely lost it, it was hard because, you know, I do keep Harry in a bubble, but I also am happy for him to, you know, expand and to have these assessments. I'm not saying that these assessments can't be done, but what I'm saying is that they should, you know, people in their position should be asking the parents, okay, what's the best way of connecting with your child right now? How can you help me get this assessment done? And I think that that's the biggest thing that I can, you know, obviously I did have a conversation with the lady this morning and we nutted a few things out. I told her my frustrations. I told her what I wasn't happy about. I told her where she could have, you know, handled it better. And I also said that, look, if you want to connect with Harry, this is how you're going to do it. So, you know, I think that support and that, include, yes, Melissa, including me, because, you know, I am his one and only. And I get that. And I get that sometimes these assessments need to be done without the parents for these sole reasons. But what I wasn't prepared to do was put him in a situation where he was just going to completely and utterly shut down. It was causing him to cry. And, you know, Harry doesn't really cry. So, you know, to see him upset like that was just, you know, was hurting me. So I had to bite my tongue and I just scooped him up and I just ran. I was just like, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. So, you know, I left and I had, you know, a good old 2-3 hour cry and, you know, I phoned everybody I know. And, you know, I was like, oh my God. And I rang, you know, another autism mum. And I think that that's another important thing, that you connected with another, you know, 2 or 3 other autism mums, because, you know, people with normal kids, they don't get it. They seriously don't get it. I'm sorry, but they just don't. You know, like I've just spent an hour and 15 minutes laying down with Harry in bed because, you know, his brain won't calm down. He's possibly had too much iPad time. He's possibly, you know, I don't know what's going on with him at the minute because, you know, I need, like, actually need help. I need a child psychologist. I need, you know, I need to speak to the OT. You know, I need to find out what's going on with him because I just don't know. I don't understand what's going on in his little brain. And that's more frustrating for me than anything because then I just can't connect with him. And not being able to connect with your child and not knowing what they want and what they're trying to tell you is so hard. It's so hard. And one of the biggest obstacles is having that frustration of, you know, not being able to calm them down. You know, I can't calm him down when he's like that. I just literally have to let him lash out. And he lashes out and he hits his head and he does all these things that I can't stop. I can't stop him from doing it. And it breaks me. It seriously is such a hard job, and you know what? I take my hat off to anybody that's got more than one child with a disability or, you know, ADHD or, you know, autism. It's bloody hard. It really is. And that no speech, that no communication, that being, you know, I am his one and only, you know, not being able to go anywhere, not being able to do anything, not being able to, you know, not knowing if we can ever, you know, go back to England right now. Like, it's just painful. And doing this for 5 years with no help, no nothing, nobody to call on if I need help, it's hard. It's really hard, and sometimes I get up and I don't want to get up, but I have to get up. I have to get up. I have to do what I have to do, you know, and running an amazing mums group, and running an incredible business, and keeping everybody else going is more to me than, you know, than anything, because, you know, people need to hear the ups and downs. People need to know that it's okay not to be okay. Because, you know, I don't get any time for me. You know, I don't. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay to sacrifice that. You know, I don't, there's things that I do sacrifice, there's things that I do go without. But, you know, his progress is my number one. And, you know, I will not stop until, you know, we get, you know, I'm able to buy a home and build a therapy room, because I want a therapist with me 24/7, and I will make sure that I get one, because knowing what he can achieve with a therapist is phenomenal. Like, this bloody COVID shit, it's absolutely regressed so many kids right now. It has just been horrific. And that's where, you know, us as parents, we have to step in to that role of guiding the kids, you know, guiding our children, and being that, you know, strong person that will not give up no matter what. And if you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to, you know, control your child, you know, you've got to look at gut health. You've got to start with gut health, because the gut feeds the brain. And if you are feeding your child with sugar after sugar after sugar after sugar, that is the wrong thing to do. I've had to stop things that I've been giving to Harry because, you know, out of love, out of him going to, you know, even out of him going to a party, you know, I have to watch what he eats. I have to watch what he, you know, what he digests, because, you know, I will pay for that. like for days, not just for like the afternoon. Oh, lucky I brought me bog roll. Bloody hell. But, you know, we are our children's biggest advocate. And, you know, I've fought really, really hard to get him a decent package on NDIS. Now, NDIS is another story. And, you know, obviously anybody that doesn't understand the NDIS, you know, I suggest you definitely, like, go into your nearest centre, ring your nearest NDIS place, you know, just absolutely go for gold. Because when I first got Harry's first plan, obviously it was like it was a lot smaller amount, but obviously we got access to therapy, we got access to the things we needed for the first 12 months. But when I studied and understood what I could actually get and the therapy that I could get for him, I went hard. I literally went hard and nobody knocked me back. So we went from having like a, you know, quite a low plan to an absolute massive plan that basically, you know, gave us a lot more, and it gave us a lot more variety. And it, you know, obviously because I'm self-managed, it gave us, you know, a lot more that we could do. So, you know, I know that I advocate, like the NDIS came back and told me, no, you can't have that plan, you can't have that amount. I went back and said, yes, I can. Hell yes, I can. I said, and add 10%, sisters. Like, honestly, if you go and you fight for your package, you will get it. Go to the local MP, fight for the right to have the good plan for your child, because they can't tell you what your child needs. Yes, you've got to do the research. Yes, you've got to get the backup plan. Yes, you've got to get the quotes in to the therapy, to how much they have per week, blah, blah, blah. But if you are going for early intervention between the age of 2 and 5, or it might even be the age of between 2 and 7, you can get a very, very good plan that basically will open the doors to a lot of therapy. Now I'm including, you know, a child psychologist, you know, and obviously we've got this eating plan. We've got, you know, a place in Sandringham called Fit for Life. We're going to go there because it's activity. You know, you've got to chase them up. You've got to be on them like a rat up a drain pipe. Literally, you have got to get their number and you have got to ring them every damn day because, oh yeah, we'll get round to your plan. No, I want it done now. You've got to become a pain in their ass. And a good pain in their ass, you know, just make sure that you've got all the correct documents. And when obviously you're putting together your plan, you know, research it, Google it, like Google NDIS plan, you know, activity, or find a local advocate, disability advocate that can help you with your plan. Find somebody to go with you to your plan assessment. Like, you got to do these things because we are absolutely the people that can go to the NDIS and say, this is what my child needs, this is what I've got, and this is what I want. And that is absolutely 100%. So, you know, you have to fight for these things. I'm sorry, but, you know, you can't sit back. You can't wait for Christmas because it takes a long time. So, you know, you've just got to make sure that you're being proactive because unfortunately, it's your job. It is your job to do it, to get the plan in place and to get the therapy for your kids. It's your job to find the right therapist. It's your job to find the right OT. Yes, Amy, NDIS is something in Oz, but I believe that everything is actually under the NHS in England. So this is something that you can connect with. I would suggest you go to the doctor, you get Jonah assessed, you say you're not happy, but you've got to write a diary. If anybody's concerned about what their child is doing, write a diary. Write a diary of what they're doing. Video them. Have everything there in a nutshell. So when you go to a doctor and you get referred to a paediatrician or you get referred to a speechy, you've got the evidence. You've got the notes. You've got the diary. You've got the You've got the videos. You've got everything that you need to say, this is what my child's doing. I need answers. Help me. So that's the biggest thing that I can say is document things, write things down, have a diary. Make sure that you go in with backup, because if you just go to a doctor and say, yeah, I need my child assessing, like, what are they going to do? They might not be able to see anything, but if you go armed with a diary, if you go armed with, situations, he rocks in a corner all the time, or he makes no eye contact, Google traits of autism and write them down and figure out what your child is doing. You've got to do these things, because there's so many kids that are that are out there that are undiagnosed. There's so many adults that are undiagnosed. Like, it's crazy, because it wasn't the done thing. It wasn't it wasn't something to talk about. It certainly wasn't something to shout about. And I am very passionate about educating parents to become the best advocate that they can for their child. And autism awareness is on the top of my list, like top of my list. And I'm researching whatever I can do for my son, because do you know what? There's got to be an answer out there. There's got to be something that can help my little boy retract his brain, the part of his brain that isn't working yet. There's got to be something out there. And believe me, if there's anybody that's going to find it, it's going to be me. And I'm going to be screaming from the rooftops when I do. But until then, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep doing what I got to do. I'm going to keep doing the hard yards. I'm going to keep dropping to my knees on desperation. I'm finding something. I'm going to be the biggest advocate I can be for him. And I will never, ever, ever let anybody put my son in a situation where he feels awkward or uncomfortable, or for as long as I have to. Maybe that's for the rest of his life. Who knows? But you know me, I'm the toughest bitch out there. I seriously am. And not much will stop me, will stop the mission, and will stop the impact. So, I'm going to leave it there. But, if there's any parent out there that needs to hear this, you need to let them know. You've got to be their biggest advocate. You can't stay tight-lipped. You've got to be vocal at the park when, your child's, not understanding what other kids are doing. You've got to be that person that says, to the other kids, look, Harry's a little bit different. He doesn't talk yet, but he loves to play chase. Explain to the kids, explain to the parents. Be that voice that gives people comfort, because do you know what? It will reward you. It will reward you in the best way possible, because the kids will then go, oh, okay, he likes to play chase. That's okay. I can do that. And it changes the whole perception, because kids can be cruel. They can be damn cruel. So, just help your child. Help your child to communicate and be the best advocate that you can for your babies, because they deserve it. They deserve the best. Okay, I'm going to go now because I'm going to cry. All right, I hope that that's given you some insight to my little life right now, because it's bloody hard. Okay, see you later. Bye.